Hi again, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Furman Athletics. I am Dan Scott, voice of the Paladins. Good to have you with us, as always. Can you believe that we are now officially into the 11th month of 2022? We are, and that's when basketball season starts. And thus, our visit with Jackie Carson from the women's basketball program. How are you, ma'am?
I am good. I can't complain. Like you said, it's a little shocking. We're in November.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in March. So,
yeah, the end of the 21-22 season was a good one for your basketball program. 20 wins plus,
yeah.
and you make it to the SoCon championship game. That was a big weekend for Furman basketball across the board.
It was.
And you had so much momentum rolling into the off season.
We did.
And then
the one thing you can't defeat are injuries.
Yeah, imagine that. We're going to talk about all that and everything else. But first of all, how are you personally? How are things in the Carson household?
The Carsons are good. You know, we are blessed. We have a middle schooler now, so I have not been just the transition period has not been well for Mama Carson. I have a middle schooler. I just still remember her in my belly. So
yeah, and
I don't like it.
And that's sometimes about the age that the horns start to come out a little bit.
Well, you know what? It's funny because she so London is she just turned 11 and she's in 6th grade, and her horns haven't come out. She's still super innocent and sweet, and I'm scared what middle school's going to do because middle school can be a little bit vicious sometimes. So I hope that I can hold on to the sweetness in her a little bit longer.
Yeah, and I hope you can too. I pray that you can because I have, as you know, I have 2 daughters, and both of them told me at varying times that they were exposed to more junk in middle school than they were in high school.
Absolutely. Yeah, middle school is no joke. And so I just want to hold on to it a little bit longer with her. Now, when my youngest, Lathan, who's now in the 3rd grade, when she gets to middle school, I don't think I'm going to have any problems. She's going to run. She runs everything.
Does she?
The house, the school, her class, But,
large and in charge, as they say, right?
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
That's great. Well, we'll throw up a prayer because
yes,
I know exactly what you're going through with girls in middle school, and it is no joke.
No fun.
No joke. Just I can say this from a man standpoint, having a wife and 2 daughters and a granddaughter, that dealing with women in general sometimes can be a challenge.
It can be.
And you deal with
a lot of them.
A lot of them on a daily basis.
I think it's a little bit. I have no sisters, so I only have 3 older brothers. So I've only dealt with and even growing up and playing a lot of sports. I played a ton of sports, and I was always on all boys teams because my dad was military, and so I lived on bases, and they didn't have girls teams, and so I played with boys. I had brothers, and then I became a women's basketball coach, and then it's crazy how that works.
I've been privileged to see quite a few of your practices over the years, and since you say that, I did not know about the military background, but now it starts to make a little bit of sense.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it trickles. I'm very much my father, who was 31 years Army. I'm very much his child. Discipline and doing it the right way every single time, and just locking in.
And if you don't do it the right way, there are consequences.
Well, you know what? It's that thing. And my team, God bless them, they hear it all the time. I say, if you don't have time to do it the right way, when will you have time to do it over? And so it kind of we don't have time to do it over, but there's most likely a consequence for not doing it. But we're going to be disciplined, and that's one of our main core values and our distinct principles. So.
Yeah, and one of the things I'll just say, we'll kind of leave it alone, is that there's a reason that Jackie's teams are usually well conditioned.
Yeah, they are. They are
because of those consequences from time to time. We touched on it at the beginning. The outlook for this year. Well, I don't want to say it's not positive now, but it was really, really positive the way last season ended. Obviously, you didn't win the conference championship, but you made it there, and you got to 20 wins, and you got so much momentum. So let's start there.
Yeah.
What the off season was like after March was done.
Well, that's the good thing about going into year 13 is that we feel that we have our culture and just the type of young ladies. Our coaching staff has had some consistency, which is always a great thing. But The foundation was there, but we knew we were going to lose. I know a lot of people never thought she was going to leave, but Tiara Hodges finally has left. She's playing in
Couldn't
Finland.
sign her to that
I
contract
could
extension.
not get a seventh year out of her. So, but she's in Finland playing professionally, and so we knew we were going to lose Hodges, but that was pretty much it, And so, and in terms of a production, now we had some other amazing seniors in Grayson Boone, who was a steady Eddie rock for us. And then Bea Mateo, who was, we called her Coach Mateo. She was one of those players that never made as much impact on the court. Her impact was on the sideline. So we knew that we were going to be losing those pieces, but we did not anticipate losing. Coaches, we always say we're one player away or two players away, and the injury bug can get you. It pretty much attacked us all at once in this offseason. So it's been interesting.
Yeah, but because the finish and what you had coming back, you were getting respect in the preseason polls, and
Absolutely.
and everybody thinks that this women's basketball program at Furman is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And then it hits.
Yeah.
And then Nevaeh Henley first, and then Tate Walters, both gone for the year.
Both gone for the year. And what it does is, it's been, I would be lying if I didn't say it's kind of rocked our world the last week. Tate was literally about 9 days ago, so it's still kind of fresh. And Tate was our engine, and our girls know it. And then we've always really just dove in strongly to roles. And I am very transparent on everyone's role in the team. I think your role expands in the off season. Once we get in the season, everybody's role is what it is, and we kind of roll with that. And our girls are really good with saying, okay, this is my role. Well, everyone knew coming into the season what Tate's role was. And so we get right here where we're knocking on the door to our first game, and that major role is now taken away. So it's kind of a lot of anxiety of, okay, who fills that role now? I've been okay with kind of being behind Tate and having Tate run the show, and then, I can disperse and it's kind of be like, okay, who does that now? And they're looking at me and I'm looking at them. I'm like, next woman is going to stand, it's going to stand up.
The difference is you get paid to make those decisions,
so I'm
right?
looking, I'm like, you are, and so, but it's, the other part of it is just, until probably 4 days ago, was the first time we had practiced with a healthy, like everyone who was available. So before even Tate got hurt, we never practiced with everyone who was supposed to be playing. Like we never had one single practice this fall or preseason. So it is really, it's kind of hit us hard. So
The thing about being the person in charge is that when adversity strikes, whether it is end game and something goes wrong, or whether it's situations like this, all eyes are on you to see how you are going to react to this.
Right.
Is that something that 13 years into your head coaching career now is an easier role for you? I mean, obviously you have to expect that now.
Yeah, we've never, in my 13 or 12 years, we've never gone into with somebody out, with the exception of Tiara Hodges went out when she redshirted. She went out in September, but we had all of our leading scorers back, so she was at that time she was a role player, but we've never gone into a season with our leading scorers, our top two leading scorers gone from the previous year, one from injury, one from graduation. And then Nevaeh Henley came in super strong and was all rookie team last year, so we expected big things. So we were originally expecting in my mindset, okay, we just have to, I told the team, obviously Hodges I think she was 18 and 12 or something like that, 18 points, 12 rebounds. And I was like, okay, 3 of you just need to get 6 more points. And, 3 of you need to get just 4 more rebounds. And then we've matched that production. Well, we're going to have to match a lot of more production. So, but it has, I always tell our team when adversity hits that you have 24 hours. You have 24 hours to react any way you want, to be disappointed, to, whatever the case. And I gave myself 24 hours. I probably did 36, to be honest. I had a couple conversations with friends that kind of talked me off the ledge. And then we all just reminded why we were here. Myself as a coach, my staff as assistant coaches, and then the players that are still here are extremely talented. And we just all needed a quick reminder that we're still here and we still have some pretty good talent.
Well, and the other part of it is, and I'm afraid that this not is being lost, but I think a lot of times talking about the bigger levels, the Power Fives now, that this is lost because of where college athletics is now. But college athletics, when it's done correctly, is preparing young men, young women for life after their athletic careers are done. And life is not going to be easy. You're not going to get 18 and 12 every time you go out. There are going to be small roadblocks. There are going to be major roadblocks. So from that standpoint, this can be a life lesson that they eventually will be positive, not just for the coach, but for the players. Problem is, as you said, is getting through that initial shock.
Oh yeah, the meantime is always the toughest time. Yeah. Our futures. I mean, we talked about. We're like, we're gonna be good in a couple of years, and we only have one senior. That's what Grace Van Rye, who wasn't supposed to come back, is also an all conference. So I don't want her to get lost in the shuffle. We were intentional about making sure not to announce Tate's and Nevaeh's injury around media day because we wanted Grace to get her. Like she's earned that And that's exactly what it is, Dan, is like someone's going to have to step up and adversity hits. And right when you were thinking you were going this way, you're going to have to make a sharp right and we're going to have to keep rolling. And so are there going to be times where we look really, really good? Yes. Are there going to be times where we look really, really bad? Yes. And honestly, that was going to be either way, regardless who was on the court. Because there's just some games where everything is clicking. And then some games where everything is like, what is going on? And so I do think that the experience, I am not as hectic and frantic because what I realized in that moment is they were going to the assistant coaches and be like, is Coach Carson okay? Like, what do we do now? They were looking to me, and so I can't be frazzled. Right. I can't be frantic. And so we just been doing a lot of belief sessions in what you're capable of doing.
So you were transparent, 24, maybe 36 hours.
Yeah,
to get through.
I gave myself 12 more.
and that's understandable.
Yeah.
And you won't know this for sure, I guess, until the season begins to unfold and the story is told. But from what you've seen, especially in the last 9 days, how have the other girls reacted?
They've been great. Like I said, they're still because we didn't see Tate until Friday. So they needed to they had a team meeting and they had a team kumbaya, and then we had a scrimmage, close scrimmage on Sunday, and then, they're doing fine. We've kind of reassigned those roles, but we've done it as a team. We need to generate the energy. Again, Tate was our engine. She was our gas. She made our team go. Okay, so where is that energy going to come from? Where is that intensity going to come from? And they've been doing a really good job of knowing that the one thing that hasn't changed is we have to be an extremely disciplined team, and we have to be a team of work harder than everyone else. The intensity, those two things. If we do those, we're the same team as we just have to distribute the scoring. What it's made us do is grow up really fast, grow up extremely. Like leaders have to emerge that typically didn't have to be there all the time, and that's what I think this team has shown me, especially the last 3 or 4 days, as everything is kind of wearing off.
The other aspect of this is, while your focus on the court is with who you have and trying to figure out how to replace production and leadership and everything else, Tate and Nevaeh are also still part of this program, and you can't let them go by the wayside. So, how are they, number one, and number two, what roles can they fill even though they can't be on the floor now?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's funny because Nevaeh's we talk about all the time, and they're pretty much both at peace with what's happened, which is a sign of their maturity and their faith as well. But Nevaeh's weakest part of her game as her freshman year, which is typical of most freshmen, was the basketball knowledge, and the game and mentally was so fast for her. And so it's crazy because she worked extremely hard. She was an outstanding scorer. She was strong. But unless she sat down and watched it, she wasn't going to develop as much as she's going to develop this year. Because now she sits there and we put her in an assistant coaching role. We're going to give her like a statting role. I told her in certain practices, she's in charge of that team. And if the energy, she's in charge of the energy and that type of thing. So it's just increasing. She's a very confident young lady. But now she gets to sit back. I ask her all the time, and I say, you see something different? She's like, yeah, it's way different. Like, so her basketball knowledge is going to skyrocket, which means it is going to be scary for anyone who plays against her in the future. Tate has always had that basketball knowledge, but it's just a lot of personal adversity for her. I think she just needed to sit down and just kind of recover, because a lot of people don't realize the amount of, mental stress that these young ladies go through. And so this was a great opportunity for her to reset. We're going to miss her, but I do feel like in a lot of ways there's some messages that we don't understand, that we have to relate to a higher power and our faith. And I think that's, I think you and I talked yesterday. I think, personally, I believe God has a funny way of telling you to be still sometimes. And so.
And if you don't, he'll make you still.
He'll make you be still.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Well, it's just when injuries hit, and regardless of the sport, the usual reaction from especially people outside is, oh man, I hate to see that. Who's next? Who's going to fill that role? Who's going to do that? How are we going to get through that? And I'm sure there's some of that with the coaching staff and on the team as well. But you still have to continue to invest in the young ladies, in this case, who are injured. You still have to coach them. You still have to do. But you're just doing it in a different way right now. Absolutely. So it's much more Mama Carson than Coach Carson, and a lot of conversation with their parents and just making sure they're in a good space. And like I said, right now, both of them are in a pretty good space. And everybody will see Tate rolling around on her scooter. She has a scooter, and so it'll give you a little bit flashbacks to 4 years ago. I tore my Achilles. And it was just rolling around. So their roles are different, but equally as important, if not more important now, because they have to be. The message always comes differently when it's from a teammate, And so these young ladies are still looking for them to be their engine. It's just going to be in a different type of way. So they have very strong roles in the team. Their energy, coaching, they're going to be statting some things. So it's going to be a great role for them. Yeah, and then next year when they're healthy and rolling back out, Coach Carson comes back out again.
Yeah,
and
Coach
now
Carson's
they've got to adjust again,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Well, a couple of them know how to push my button to make Mama Carson pop out real quick, and then I have to readjust. But she makes an appearance.
Once in a while, right?
Yeah.
Jackie Carson, women's basketball coach, joining us here as she gets set to begin her 13th season as the head coach of her alma mater. And just talking about the adversity they face before the ball goes in the air at all. And that also brings a question. Your opener, November the 8th, which is Tuesday against Erskine, is Election Day, and that's supposed to be an off day college athletics-wide. The Division I schools got a waiver, and there was a question about whether that extended to Division II schools or not. So do we have an answer? Are we playing on Tuesday, November the 8th?
No clue yet. So Erskine
as of now.
As of right now, we are playing on November the 8th. Erskine, we did just get word, I think last Friday, that Erskine learned that they were not included in the... So what it is that you were supposed to have a day off for civic engagement, Election Day. And if you choose to play on that game, you have a waiver, but you have to do some type of civic engagement. So our team is lined up to do some things, and you only have a small window to do it. So our team is lined up to do some civic engagement activities centered around the election and just and different things. But we get a call Friday, and they're like, Division II doesn't have those waivers. So we're like, oh, no. So they have filed the waiver. We have not heard the result of that, but in the event that they cannot play, we're just going to scoot it over to Wednesday.
Okay.
So we're not going to lose that.
So the game will be played.
The game will be played. We're having like COVID flashbacks right now. We might just have to shift it over a day.
But hey, at least that part of it doesn't catch you by surprise because of what you've gone through,
That's
right?
exactly it. Again, adversity, learning from adversity. We're just going to shift on over. So.
Well, we're recording this on Wednesday, dropping it late Wednesday morning. So that means that it's either 6 or 7 days until the opener. FurmanPaladins.com and the Furman social media will keep you updated as to whether or not that game will be played on the 8th. That's when it's scheduled right now, the opener with Erskine. Recording it on Wednesday. Thursday, we have the Hoops Night here at Timmons. So tomorrow night, we're going to invite fans into Timmons for free and kind of unveil both teams have a little bit of fun
Yeah.
on this Hoops Night deal.
Well, it's just showing some personality, interacting with our student body, and just, it's just like the days of Midnight Madness. So bringing that vibe back. I don't think too many people know Midnight Madness. I know we do, but the younger generation don't know that we typically didn't start practice till October 15th every year. I mean, we started September 26th, so it's changed a lot, but it's going to have that vibe. It's going to be a lot of fun. We invite the community and all the students to come join us.
What do you have planned?
I'm hearing dancing, Dan, but I don't know if we're dancing. We're going to see. We're just going to let the music take us into our introductions. But there is 4 competitions, 4 $10,000 competitions that students have the opportunity to win some money. So
Not the media.
Well, we can put you in the raffle. How's your shot looking?
Used to be really good. I haven't shot
It's
in a
like
while.
riding a bike, Dan. If you had it, you still got it.
But I don't know. I don't know that I've got the legs to
legs are everything. You might be a little short.
Yeah,
okay.
there you go.
Okay.
So
we'll
have
there's
to
a
figure it
chance.
out.
I'll check it out.
So $10,000 for $10,000.
$4 $10,000 opportunities. So different contests, and then there's also a contest that's kind of like where it's one women's basketball player and one men's basketball player student kind of mixed in, 4 different teams. Just some fun. It's a lot of fun. DJ Nate's going to always take care of us and give a great vibe, and it's going to be a great time to just learn about both programs and get the vibe ready for a great start of the season.
How has the finished construction, the revamped offices and everything, how has that met the expected boost in recruiting and those things? How have those upgraded facilities helped?
Yeah, gosh, ours is pretty. It's so nice. I turned into a little girly girl right there. It's because we like a lot of sparkle in the women's basketball world, like a lot of chrome and shiny things, and so it's phenomenal.
Kind of mirrors the way you dress on the sideline.
A little bit, we got to stick out for the right reason. There you go. And so it's been phenomenal. We are thankful to all the donors. That was completely donor funded. So that is a lot of investors in both programs, men's and women's basketball. It's been phenomenal for our girls. Our film room, just the ability to show film in a very nice film room. The locker room is giving our girls some life, and for me, it's extra special because one of the things I want to do for this program is for them to have more than what I had as a player. And it's pretty funny to see the alums come back and be like, oh my goodness, like we were in one little corner of that locker room, and now it's massive. And so just to see how the program has grown, kind of on the foundations of the players that were there before, and how proud each alum is, and then the recruiting it's been a great recruiting sale for us.
And if I recall correctly from discussion from last year, the biggest thing for you personally is the desk.
I had the desk of my coach, Dan. That was weird. Like, no matter how many times she was pounding on that desk because of me. So the desk is phenomenal, and it's open. I like light, so I have an extra window now. Like it's pretty cool.
You're just lighting up talking about it.
It's light. There's light everywhere.
She sparkles without the sparkles.
I try to sparkle whenever I can.
It's comforting to see, and I think I know you well enough to know that this is not an act. I know that you're devastated, but it's also comforting to see that you're finding a way forward. Yeah. And we don't know what the record's going to be. We don't know how the season's going to play out. But the bottom line is there's going to be a season, and there are lessons to be learned.
Right.
And it's comforting for me to see, as you and I are talking now, how you're moving forward.
Right. Well, it's again, after my 36 hours, it was tough. It's being faithful. It's being faithful in my beliefs and why it's happening. It's being faithful in my current players. It's being faithful in my coaching staff. I told our coaching staff this is going to be our best coaching job in a long time. And it's not because of the abilities of the players. It's because of the belief that they have to develop in themselves. And once we have that, it is hard to, reroute the mindset of 18 to 22-year-old females. And sometimes it's hard to reroute the mindset of adults, a 44-year-old female. But, I just have a strong belief that everything happens for a reason. This is going to really bolster the confidence and the abilities of the current players that we have on our team. It's going to bolster them not only for their basketball careers, but their life after basketball. And the lessons that they're going to learn here are going to pay huge dividends, not only now, but in the long run. And that's kind of what I'm all about. I get measured on the wins and the losses, and that's fine. I have no idea how many games I've won, how many I've lost. Luckily, I do know. I don't know the margin, but I know I've won more than I've lost. So I am grateful for that. But for me, it's how do these women develop, for their life after, Furman, and I think this year is going to develop all of us.
How does Pierre survive in your world?
Oh, he's surrounded by all women. What do you mean? That's amazing.
Well, I mean, depending on how you look at it.
Oh no, he's totally I tease him because he's the most sensitive one out of all of us.
Oh really?
Oh, absolutely. And he has 3 sisters, so he's had no experience.
So he's kind of the opposite of you.
He is. It's crazy. So Pierre has 3 older sisters. Mm-hmm. And Coach Amber on my staff has 3 older brothers. She's the same. I have 3 older brothers. Coach Ashley is the outlier. She has 1 sister, so she's the only one that kind of matches up. Lauren has 1 brother. Everyone is the opposite except for Ashley and Kristen. They both have a sister. So yeah, we roll deep and usually the opposite. And then I married my husband. And has 2 older sisters. So yeah, we're opposite. But Pierre, he's the most sensitive out of all of us, Dan. Don't let him fool you.
See, now I'll have to have a conversation with him about that.
Yeah, that's how he molds with all the women. He's pretty sensitive.
Everybody's best friend and moving along.
Absolutely.
So is he on your staff? Is he the good cop to your bad cop when you have to be?
He pouts more. We tease him about pouting.
Oh, really?
He'll stomp his feet and stuff. I just look at him crazy.
I'm sorry, Pierre. I didn't know we were going to go down this road. I was trying to stick up for you as the lone male and all of this stuff. And
he's the most sensitive.
There you go. Secrets out, my man. Secrets out. Tell me about some of the other players who are going to have to maybe take a role now that they weren't anticipating.
Absolutely. So obviously we talked about Grace Van Rye. Mm-hmm. She came off of Stellar, where she was an all-conference performer last year. She's preseason pick for all-conference. Just her leadership is going to be huge for us. But I'm excited for Grace. We weren't supposed to have her. She decided to return in June. So we are glad she did. She had graduated and was ready to go off into the world. And, it was a funny 30 minutes because, we didn't have a good summer workout. And and she walked in. She was working camp for us. And I said, Grace, you want to come back? She said, can I? I said, you can. And 30 minutes later, she was back and already applying for the master's program. So, but she's going to be phenomenal. Sydney James, if we can keep her healthy. She's had nagging little injuries throughout her career, but if everyone remembers, Sydney James was the freshman of the year 2 years ago, and just a phenomenal athlete, her strength. But again, just working through some nagging injuries that have sidelined her throughout the preseason and the postseason this past year. It's going to be huge. Our freshmen are going to have to grow up really fast. We have 3 really talented freshmen. One is a transfer, Jalen Acker, who was at Cal Baptist, but redshirted at Cal Baptist. And just the crazy thing is I think our 3 freshmen are our most solid three-point shooters. They are snipers from the 3. And so Sydney Ryan, Ella Riggs, those 3 are going to have to step up big. And then, we have we have talent. Kate Johnson, who I think everyone knows it. She's the daughter of my teammate, who was Liz Nethling at the time, and Liz Spell now. Big post. We have tremendous size. We are very big. So we just have to put it together. We have so many other young ladies that are stepping up big for us. Vula, as the fans may know her as her Paraskilia, is our Greek point guard, and Janae Alden. Jada Sessions, huge. She stepped up really big at the 4 spot. When you played against in a T.R. Hodges for a year, that makes you pretty talented. So what she's done, but I know I've Evie DePietro. I've left off some phenomenal young ladies, but they're all stepping up.
So as we get into wrap up mode here with everything that has transpired, Tate, Nevaeh out, everything that's going on, does the definition of success for this season change?
No, because we've always been about celebrating every win. And I don't mean a win as a fan or everything. We win a drill, we celebrate that win. We get an A in a class, we celebrate that win. So I think it's going to be celebrating even the smallest of wins. And we've done that, but we're going to amplify it even more because when you've dealt with so much adversity on the front end, you just want to make sure you can constantly keep seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And, we've had a lot of wins. We're going to continue to have a lot of wins. And we don't worry about what everybody else's definition of winning is. We worry about what our definition as a program and, our core values and the fans that are really invested in us. We have tremendous fans, and we always talk about quality over quantity. We would have 10 amazing fans over 100 just, fans that are really not invested.
Right.
So our wins, we're going to celebrate every one of them. And it doesn't change the definition, but we're going to celebrate a little bit harder on every single win that we have.
Well, I know that along with celebrating harder, there's not going to be any change in the way you work.
No.
Because you've always worked hard.
We always work hard.
So
that gets us a couple wins that alone, because not everybody works hard anymore. So we're going to at least outwork folks.
All right, so either Tuesday or Wednesday.
One of the days.
One of the days, the opener with Erskine.
Yes.
Right, on the schedule right now for Tuesday night at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
If Erskine can't get the waiver, it will be Wednesday night.
We're going to move the flying fleet over to the 8th, or the 9th.
Yes,
yes.
They'll
fly over to the Wednesday.
They'll fly over one more.
That's right.
Regardless, we're looking forward to seeing how the story of this season unfolds.
And it's going to be a good one.
Anything we haven't covered?
No. You're phenomenal.
How's your jump shot?
It's right. Dan, I told you, it's like riding a bike.
I know.
It's never going away.
So even 4 years later after the Achilles,
absolutely. I'm just now a set shooter. I used to actually try to play. Nope, all set shots.
Okay.
I might trail 3 every now and then, but no, I'm not running.
Still have to step out occasionally and show them how it's done?
Absolutely, all the time.
All right.
Yeah.
As long as that hasn't changed.
No,
absolutely. That's all that matters.
Absolutely.
We have come to the end of this week's edition of Inside Furman Athletics. I hope you've enjoyed it. I always enjoy getting a chance to talk with Coach Jackie Carson. We will be looking forward to either Tuesday or Wednesday, right?
Sounds good.
All
Go
right.
Dens.
This has been Inside Furman Athletics. Back again next week with another edition for you. Until then, for Coach Jackie Carson and all of us at Furman, I'm Dan Scott. As always, saying God bless you and so long, everybody.